or it might be some functions which are predefined in SQL. Especially we are talking about Postgres over here, right? Because Postgres is
Yes.
a lot of inbuilt functions. We are not going to dive deep into all of those. We will just see which are common across all the database, right? And which is usually required in the DB. And why I'm saying this, because it's not like the today's class. In today's class, we don't need to rote down everything that I will taught. It should be in back of your mind that these things database is capable to handle, right? So those,
Yes. Yes.
and rest you can Google it, right? Later on if you want
Yeah.
to use those things. Cool. So first of all,
Mm.
okay, let's see list, right? This is backward slash, right? So backward slash here,
Yeah.
it will list of databases it will provide us, right?
That-
So we were working with Swiggy. So backward slash C, it means connect to Swiggy. Cool. So we have connected to Swiggy, and then we will say describe the Swiggy. Then the Swiggy has this 3 tables only, right? No view, right? Or no sequence, only
Yes.
3 tables, right? We have
Yeah.
created this table. We have seen it earlier in our last class. So what is, okay, so let's see strict from public user, right? So select everything from public users, right? So this is
Yes.
RDMS. So RDMS has row and columns, right? So give me every row,
Yeah.
every column from the public users table. Cool. So this is
User
my
string.
every row and every column, every row and every column. So this is the data that we get. So now there are things that we know. I mean, there are a lot of items that we will use, but the thing is, right now we will see one thing that last time we have seen in the string also ASCII, and regarding the ASCII characters. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the thing is, a string can take more character can take more space. So in Java, what it do, it saves the string as a byte array, right? We have seen that in the last class. You can refer the
Yes.
video of last session. I have uploaded it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing is, so why Java is able to do that? Because Java have a data type byte which has a size of 1 byte, right? And 1 byte has 8 bits. And 8 bits, I mean, we are not going to dive deep into the internal process, but 8 bit can hold in the values of integer from minus 128 to positive 127, and from 0 to
Yes.
127 is the ASCII values, right? So that
Yes.
thing we have seen in our last section, right? So now the thing is, if you ever get a case where you get some ASCII values, and last time we also seen that the starting of characters, right, is
Yeah.
65 and 97, right? I mean
Yeah.
alphabetical A starts from those values, right? So if I
Yes.
want to know the ASCII values, right? So strings is a very important part in Java, right? Because most of the things are done with a string, but then too it's not a primitive data type, right? So
Yeah.
it's a we use byte array of characters. So the thing is,
Yeah.
ASCII values are important, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is the thing that I want to tell, that ASCII things are important. If you don't know internals, then you might not find that it is important, but it is actually. So the thing is, if it is important and I want to use it, so the database has provided me a function. So see, select is the thing. I will do the select and then ASCII, right? ASCII values. Those were ASCII values,
Yes.
right? So if I'll say that please provide me ASCII value of a small case, then the output is 98, right?
Yeah.
And then if I'll say that please provide me ASCII value of capital A, then it would be 65, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now one thing, that the output is coming as this ASCII, right?
Yes.
If I use hibernate, then I will get this value as ASCII is the key and the value would be 65, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if I want this something different, right? I want
Yeah.
it as capital A ASCII value, right? Now
Yeah.
it has changed, right? The column name, this is the column name, right? The
Yes.
column name
Yes.
has changed, so we can use as if I want to
Yeah.
change the column name, right? And why I want to do that, because if I use the hibernate and get the data, then the hibernate provides data in the key value pair, and the key name will change, right? So I can make
Yes.
sure that the data I'm trying to access, the name has been modified to something else, right? So let's
Yes.
go over here, right? And if I'll say okay, let's do one more thing, select sky, cool, and do m and k. Let's first do sky of m. It is 77, right? Then
Yes.
sky of k, it is 75, right? And if I try
Yeah.
to do sky of mk, then it is 77 only, right? So
Yeah.
what's happening? It's just returning the first character, right? 77 it's returning. It's not taking care of
Yeah.
the next value of sky. Cool. So this is the one thing, and we are not. So if I'll try to do sky, select sky. Okay, select sky and user dot name from. Okay, u dot name. Let's make it u dot name. U dot name from public users. Now what's the error? It don't know what to use, right?
What is yours? Yeah. Yeah.
So I can take, I can create a reference to this as well. I can make it as, now again it's an issue, right? Because I can just
Yeah.
make it,
Yeah.
okay, now column u.
Does not exist.
Oh, my bad. Now over here the u does not required name, it's not name. Okay, first name, my bad. So
Yeah.
so u
First no.
dot first name, right? Now we get the data, right? So the thing is,
Yeah.
and so the two things here we wanted to see. The first thing is I can change the, I can, if I use as, then I can change the column name,
Column.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I have used as well for the
For
database
table. Yeah.
reference. Because when I
Reference.
try to join two database, then there might be a chance, right? First name is in, can be in two database. First name can be in the student or the employee. Both will have the first
Yeah.
name, right? And if I
Yeah.
want to join the table, then which username I want to fetch? I want to fetch the
Yeah.
username of the student or the employee. So to make sure,
Yes.
I will use the user as student ss and the employee se. So e dot username will get the username of the employee, and u dot username or s dot username will get the employee, oh sorry, name of student. Cool. So that's why we use as in different ways, and this is how we use it with the select to change the, to
Yes.
change the column name, and we use it
From
in the from clause to create a
uh,
reference, to create a
reference
reference for
for
a
the table.
particular table, right?
Yeah.
So for now this u is not required, because the thing is there is no ambiguity, right? Because there is no ambiguity, only I'm using one user table, right, user, and
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
no multiple columns in the user table, right? So there is no
Yeah.
ambiguity, so I don't need to do that, this thing. I don't need to write as u and then u dot first name, right? But if you write the code in the production server, then your seniors will force you to write this code you in this way. If they don't, then they don't know about the database much, but they will force you. And if they force you,
Yeah.
the reason is, let's take for example, right now you have written this query, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And later on someone used this query as the first part. I mean, we haven't done the subqueries. In subqueries, what we can do, we can take multiple queries and then group it together and make our I mean, multiple queries can be inserted can be nested. Do you understand the word nested in terms of coding?
Nested.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Maybe
have the, like
have you
nested
seen,
hooks.
have you seen Inception?
Sorry.
Inception. There was a movie Inception which was released in 2005.
Yeah. Inception. Yeah.
Okay, Inception movie
Not fully.
has dreams inside dreams, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So subqueries is there is a query inside a query.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
subquery. We will see, and there will be a dedicated 2 hour session, almost 2 hour session for the subqueries. But right now the thing is, if you do this thing, right, the first name,
Yeah.
and let's suppose
Yeah.
now you need to, this is the query that you have, right? And
Yeah.
over here now you want to write join, right? Write join, and you need to do products on, and then we will do something, right? So what will
Yeah.
happen if you don't, let's suppose products, right now we know that products has no first name, right? But product has a
Yeah.
name, right? Let's suppose that we have a name for the user and name for the product as well, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
now how will, and let's say that u dot id equals to p dot id, right? And u dot id p dot id, why we require it? Because we need to know which id, right? From which id
Yes.
I have as u and products as p, right? Now you understand why we use u and p to make reference to the
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
table. So
Yeah.
u dot id dot p dot id, right? So I'm
Yeah.
trying to join two tables, but what will happen then? The name, which name I need to take if both
Which
products and user has name, right? There will be an ambiguity which one to use. So to fix
yeah.
this, if I want to use the product username, then I can, what I can do, I can do this thing that okay, please provide me user dot name, right? Or product dot name. Cool. And over here I can even change that. If I'm taking, there might be a chance I need both, right? So what I can do, I can say that give me user dot name
You- Yeah.
as username and give me product dot name as product name. Cool. This is making more sense, right? Column name
Yes.
product name and then column name username, instead of both
Yeah.
having name and then I need to intuit which one is product name and which one is username, right? The thing is, if you see that the username and product name, we it is very easy for us to differentiate, because you were thinking okay, the username could be Ram Sham Radhe Ram something, right? And the product name could be something like lightning bulb, chair, TV, fridge, mobile devices. But the thing is,
Yeah.
if you are saying this thing in the Korean language, then you won't be able to make sense, right? Which one is which one? Then the column name should be only intuitive thing that is there, that should be there, right? But when I'm trying to create a database, then it will be superfluous to give the name of the username, right? Why I need, if the
Yeah.
table is user, I don't need to provide the user first name, right? Over here we have created, so this is first name and last name, right? We haven't created it user first name, right? Obviously if the table is user, then the name will be of user only, right? So
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
not going to update the table with the user everywhere. So that's why
Yeah.
this thing as is required, right? So as with in the select query, change the name of the column, right? And why
Yeah.
it is required, if I want to fetch data in the Hibernate, then it will be key value pair section, and from the key I can get it, right? And if
Yeah.
I just take that as and then write something in the from section, then it will be a reference to the particular class, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everywhere if we write the complete name of the class user dot something, it will be way too long, right, to write everywhere. So we
Yeah.
just write there's some short forms. Cool. Okay, cool. Otherwise the ASCII values like type is not making sense over here, because I just wanted to show you that this thing we can do user ASCII value. If you want to take out, then we can do it, but it will not provide you the total sum, right? It will provide you the output of only first character. Cool. So ASCII was the function, right? We haven't written anything to find out the ASCII. It was a function that was provided by Postgres, right? And it will work.
Postgres. Yes.
It will work same in MySQL and other databases as well, because it is way too common items, right? Postgres provides a lot of things because it is open source, and yeah, it has been built over the 2 decades of time. So it has a lot of items,
Okay.
but many of the things we need to activate it, right? You will learn that those things on your own later on when you start working. But right now we just need to learn
Yeah.
the basic, right? So
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
there might be a chance that we have email, right? Okay,
Yeah.
select star from, okay, asterisk, no, not asterisk. Let's say that I want user
First.
ID, right? And the first name and the email ID, right? From email, yeah, cool. From public user. Public is a schema, user is a table, right? So I got these
Yeah.
items, right? But let's say I have something that I need to check whether the length, how much is the length of each name, right? How much is the length of
Yeah.
each email ID part? Then what can I happen? What can I do? So there is a method which can help me with this. If I'll do this, char length, length, length. Okay, cool. LENGTH. This is the spelling, right? Yes, length. Okay, cool. Yes, this is the spelling of length. And if I try to enter anything, right? Random is having 6 characters, right? Random. Okay, my bad. In Postgres, strings are represented with single literals, right?
Single
So
length,
I
yeah.
get the length of 6, right? I just done the
Yeah.
select length. Cool. And what I can extra as length. Cool. It was showing as char length. And what is the char length? Char length is nothing but the name of the function, right?
Yes.
And in the
Yeah.
last time what we have seen, sky we have seen, right?
Yeah,
Select
yeah. That's
sky,
correct.
and then we will do if
Column
while.
name.
It will
Yeah.
provide us 79, right? 97, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
97, and the column name is sky, right? So if you don't provide any
Yeah.
column name, then what will happen? It will take the name of the function, right, as the column name. But only if we are not taking, if only if we are not taking making anything, right? If we are not providing any name for the, or we are not suggesting any name for the particular column. So let's go back to our this thing, right? This thing provides this data, and if you want one more additional data, let's suppose char and then length and then email, right? And if I enter, then the column name will be char length, right? So instead of char length, if I want to something length of email, right? So I will write only this is as email id char length. So now it is as came as email id char length, right?
Yes.
So now if we want to do that, or see that, okay, let's take let's get only those email IDs which has character length of 15 or lesser, right?
Yes.
So what I can do, where right now the total output is 6, right? Because the total output is 6 because the total users are 6, right? We haven't written anything in the where clause, right? We haven't started filtering out things. So over
Yeah.
here, if I want to do the char length, so char length email, and what I'm saying that it should be greater than n equals to 15. Give me only those rows, those ID, first name and email from the public use from users table where the char length of email ID is greater than or equals to 15. Oh my bad. 15 should be greater than. Okay, 15 should be greater than and less than 15, right? So only 3 I got. Why? Because only 14, 14 and 15. Only 3 values are there which is less than
Less than or equal to 15.
10. Yes. So 16, 17, 18 or higher, right? So what we have
Yeah.
seen that I can use this char length or the function that is presented by the database in the select clause, in the from clause, right? In sorry, my bad,
Yes.
where clause. So in
Right.
both places I can use the char length, right? Or any function
Yeah.
that has been provided by the database. It's not like it can be used in only one section, one clause area we can use, but we can use it everywhere, wherever we want, right? Another thing we have seen that, okay, as we can use in the select area and as we can use in from area as well, right? In two areas we can use as. Now there is, and we will see in later classes, I mean, how we can use as and where clause as well, right? We'll do it by with the group by and all. Cool. So we have seen two items, right? So
Yes.
the thing is, I mean, the only reason that we are going through this is that people tend to write code for this. When someone asks you, I mean, the email ID, the length of email ID is not required. But the thing is, there might be a chance that you want to get the data where the number of images that you have stored in the database, right? You require that. So,
Yeah.
so in those things, if you know that, okay, let's try to and how can you go and get it right directly? So
Yeah.
there are different aspects for this problem. One thing is that you can write a Java code, then you will get all the data from the database. And then in your Java code, you will write a script. Inside the script, you will pass the string and then try to get out all the images and those things, right? Another thing would be you'll try, and
Yeah.
the cases if the all the images data is stored in a column and in a JSON or in some other format, right? But if you know a single thing that, okay, all the images has been separated by a comma, right? Then you can just
Yeah.
count the number of comma in that particular column, and you will say that, okay, this number of images are there in these tables, right? So those things become some queries that we want, or some data we want to gather or need to modify, right, or need to operate on, becomes way too easy because a lot of operators are already present, right? We are not going to cover every operator, right? But the thing is, it's just
Yeah.
you need to know that where we can use it, right? So if you want to Google it, then you will be aware that okay, we have seen that these can be used in different clauses, different areas, in where clause and select clause, different places I can use it, right? So now the thing is, I mean, now that we have seen where we can use it. I'm going to just fast forward it, right? You can go through the video
Yeah. Yeah.
again later on and try to do those things again and again, right?
Yes.
So another thing that I will do, so it will be character length, right? Earlier we have
Yes.
done char length, right?
Yeah.
ABC 3, right? So both things you can do. If you want to do the char length, then it will also provide you the same data, right? Character
Yes.
length and char length. But one thing you need to know is this thing, character length is not eligible for uh, MySQL. It works only in Postgres. Cool. So there are some things that might not work on MySQL, but you can just Google it, the synonym or the similar things that we can use in the MySQL. Cool. So another thing is
Yes.
concat, right? So to concat, let's see, select star from public users. What do you mean by concat?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
binding
So
together. Yes.
yeah, see how many student don't have a surname? 4, right?
4.
So if I want to get public users where last name is null, if I try to do that, so there is no last name is null, right? So
Yeah.
if I'll try do this, it's empty, right? It's blank because we have entered the
Yeah.
blank, right? We have seen in
Yeah.
uh, previous lectures that null is different and blank string is different, right? So it is a blank
Yes.
string that we have entered while inserting these rows. Cool.
Yeah.
So now we have these things, right? So now what I want to do is, so instead of this I just want id, I want id and then first name. Cool. So I get these two things, right? Let's add email as well. So this is the data that we get from this query. Cool. And if I try to do get the last name as well, so the last name as well, then I'm not getting anything, right? So what I can do in the last name, what I can do is I can concat. But
Yeah.
concat do in Java or in any other language? I mean, concat is a normal string item.
Yeah.
What what is the usage of concat?
Yeah. To binding the two strings,
Okay.
like um, it will bind and it will give you a new result for the content.
Okay, but how do we? I mean, how it works in? Okay, let's talk about a string as well in Java. If I'm using a string, cool, a string keyword,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I want to make two strings. There is Abhishek, or let's say there is Naresh, and I want to make Naresh MK, right?
Yeah.
So how can I make it? And when I do this, making Naresh to Naresh MK, then what happens? I mean, by asking you what happens, I mean what happened internally?
Internally, like internal, I don't have an idea, but the result is like it will come like narration MK, and internally the mechanism will be on keep on adding bytes. I think
Okay. Will a new object created or not? Will it update the Naresh only or it will create a new object?
it will create an object.
New object.
Yeah,
Okay, so there will be two objects, right? The one will be Naresh and
yeah,
one will be Naresh MK. Cool, because string is
MKS.
immutable. Cool. So
Yeah,
the thing is, if I want to do this thing, this is the last name, right? This is the last name, right? And I want to add MK. Okay. And now if we'll see, what is this double operator? This is pipes, right? this is called pipe that I have written here. It is called pipe, right? Okay, my bad. The mk needs to be a string, and what's the column? It's the Naresh mk, right? Now,
Yeah.
so why it's mk? The thing is, cause it was blank right now earlier, right? If
Yeah.
I remove where the last name is blank, then the users who had the name already will also have mk added to it, right? Banerjee
Okay.
mk, and this
Yeah.
Naresh was already having mk, then it gets another mk, right? And which does not have any mk, they also get another mk. So this is called singly, it's called a pipe, right? This is OR
Yeah.
operator, right?
Or operator,
But if
yes.
in Postgres you will do the OR operator, what it will do, it will concat two strings, right? Let me show you the
Oh,
singleton examples. Select user or Ashok as name. If I'll try to do this, I will get the column name is name, right? We have seen that as name will be the column name and the value Ashok, right? This
yeah.
is what I get, right? But if I'll do that Ashok, and let's suppose if let's say we August, okay, of batch, then Ashok of batch, right? So what it does, it concatenates
Concatenate.
two strings, right?
Yes.
So this is in the isolation, if we see the query, right? So if I want to concatenate, then I will just use the OR operator, you can say normal language,
Ah,
but it is singleton, it's called a pipe, right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's move forward. All right, so let's move forward with concatenate, we have seen. So now
Yeah.
another thing that we can do is that if we have some things to find, right? If you have a string or if you have an array in a
Yeah.
column, right? And you want to find something, then we can find also something in that particular column or part. Like for example, if we have uh, what I've written, find in set, right?
Insert.
So what will happen, this is isolation part, I want to find c, but from where I want to find c? I want to find c in a, b, c, d and e, right?
Yeah.
I want to find in a, b, c, d, e, right?
Yeah.
Okay, find in set, it is saying that it's no function matches given argument type. Okay, argument type, it's okay, cool, but the thing is I need comma and I need but if I'll do this, the first one, just give me 1 sec and let's just take two values. Okay, function find unknown does not exist. Okay, but why it's not taking first item? Okay, just give me one more sec. A, B, C, D. Okay, so find in set, I think in Postgres it's working different way. So what usually it does, if we have some data, right? If we have
Yeah.
some characters of array, so
Yeah.
set, you understand basic set, right? Sets don't
Yeah.
have duplicates, right?
Yeah.
So what's happened, that this find in set, what it do, that we can transform the data in the database. If we have some data, we can transform them into this, I mean in array, right? In this thing only, in database only, and then we can use find in set of Postgres. And then
Okay.
what will it will do, it will give us the data if it is already in that particular.
Set.
Yes. So find in set is not a part of Postgres, so we cannot use find in set in Postgres. So there is another alternative for it, it's any,
Okay.
and it requires the join as well. So we will check any later on.
Okay.
So find in set that we were trying to apply this, it was in MySQL. Usually
Oh.
another way around happens. Usually there are multiple methods or the internal implementation presents for the Postgres, and that's usually not in the MySQL, but this is an exception, right? Find in set is in MySQL and not in Hibernate. Oh, sorry, Postgres. Cool. So let's
Okay.
move further and just see more commands, and we will just going to see the dummy wise section, right? I mean, dummy wise is in isolation. Like for example, if I have something and I want to change its case, right? There is lowercase and uppercase, right?
Yeah.
In strings. If I want to match, so what I can do, I can do select L case, and then I can say Ashok. Okay, Ashok is already L case, lowercase. Okay, Ashok, and the single string and Ashok. ASH. Okay, cool. Okay, don't tell me that L case is also not a part of this. Okay. Okay, so if LCase does not work, LCase might work with MySQL, so try lower. Cool.
Yeah.
So lower is working over it, right? So
Yeah.
lowercase, so lower is working. All right, so now I'm little bit I mean I'm not sure that which one is working where, right? LCase, this LCase now will work in MySQL, right? So in Postgres we will be using lower. So
Yeah.
as lowercase username we can do, right? This thing. I'm not going to do it again and again. Now we will just going to see. So the thing is, if select this thing was making this in the lowercase, right? So
Yeah.
what will be the opposite of this?
Lower case, uppercase, upper.
Upper. Nice. So and just Ashok. Cool. Right.
Up.
So the easiest thing in the computer science is the database if you are a developer. So if you have the lower, then you have an upper, right? So
Yes.
it's easy to understand those things. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see more things. If the basic item, okay, we have seen the length, right? Already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cal length we have seen, right? To
Yeah.
get the length, we have seen the cal length. We will use the cal length and we get the length. But what we can do is select length is also there. The simple length of a string Ashok, right? 5. So now we have multiple items, right? You can use the length, you can use the char length, and you can use the character length, right? 3 things just to find the length. Cool. Okay. Then there is one thing which has no use anywhere. So if you want to repeat something, right?
Yeah.
If I say select Ashok, right? If I'll do select Ashok as username, right? So what will happen? I will get Ashok as username, right?
Yeah.
So right now I haven't seen any use case of this, but the thing is, if I will say that okay, please repeat Ashok, okay,
Yeah.
repeat Ashok. Then if I say that please repeat Ashok, then I need to tell them that how many times you need to repeat, right?
Yeah.
So if I'll say repeat Ashok 2 times, so what is this? Ashok, right?
Okay.
So if I'll say that okay, please repeat Ashok, and then I'll say 5 times, 5 times, then Ashok, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I haven't seen any use case till now. The uppercase, lowercase, those the character length, everyone has the use case and very important use cases. But this repeat I haven't seen till now the use case of that. Now another thing that is important is, I don't know whether it works in this or not. So this is very important coding question as well, right? Reverse string, right?
Yeah.
And Kosha, and if I'll say that reverse, then KOHSA Ashok, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this thing is, and then you can trim. There are a lot of functions that you can do, that you can add or remove multiple things,
Yes.
and then you can find the substring as well. You can
Yeah.
trim as well a lot of things, right? Uppercase,
Yeah.
lowercase. These things are important, right? So let's take a substring example as well, because we often required to find out the substring or take certain sections of a string, right? So what I'll do, I'll make a substring. So sub str, right? So let's see whether sub str works over here or not. And then let's say longer name. Okay, let's say I'll use Ashok only if we are using Ashok. But if I need the substring, right? So substring is the part of this string, right?
Part of,
And
yes.
substring will be contiguous, right? It won't be like as and k. That won't be a substring, that would be a subsequence. Substring
Yeah.
will be contiguous, so continuous, right? So I want from 0, if I'll say to 3, then I'll get ans, right?
Yeah.
So 0 means that please give me the data from 0th position to the position before the third position. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So
Yeah.
as, instead of as, there should be 1 as well, right? If I'll do 1 and 3, then what will happen? Now ash, right? So from position 1 to 3 we need to use if we want these values. From 0 to 3, if we'll try to do it as an array, then we will not get the expected output, right? So
Okay.
from 1 to 3 we are getting. So instead of course we are, because when we do the developments and we need to find give the indexes, we tend to give the index from 0, but in the substring sub str we don't do that. We will directly give the position that we want directly, because this thing is not, database is not created for the developers, it is for the other people to get the data from the database, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is another method substring as well, nothing will change. So instead of sub str it will be substring, right? So
Yeah.
the answer will be same, the sub str also same, the substring also same, right? Like it was in length, character length and char length. So whether you use sub str or substring, it is same, right?
Yes.
And now what happens usually, it's not, I mean, when I want to find some, because if I want to use this thing, right, 1 and 3,
Yeah.
but eventually I need something, right? I need some positions from where 1 is there and 3 is there, right? I need to find this positioning. Right now we are working on Ashok, but
Yeah.
if we want the data from the database, we don't, I mean, this will be a column name, right? And the
Yes.
positions we need to provide 1 and
Yeah.
5 and those things. So what
Yeah.
can we do? There is something called substring index. So what we do is, and this is again important, and a lot of time if you work with database a lot, then we find it helpful,
Okay.
that substring, if we do, and underscore index, right? Substring we have already used in last example, right? Substr and
Yeah.
substring completely. So
Yeah.
let's say if I have a substring and let's say okay, let's give an URL,
Okay.
okay, or email id, let's take email id. So Ashok at the rate and gmail.com, cool. So what I want at the rate, right, and one,
Okay.
if I, okay, my bad, because single string, okay, there might be a chance this method is not, okay, substring index is unknown, cool. So it is not supported in Postgres, it is in MySQL, cool. So
MySQL.
what will happen, that when I'll do this, so it will provide me the index of at the rate, right? And the
Yeah.
second one, because there might be a chance at the rate is present in many places, right? There might be
Yeah.
at the rate here, at the rate here as well, right, instead of dot. So the first
Yeah.
occurrence I require. So for that we can use this equivalent of substring index. We need to find out in Postgres what's the alternative and how can we do it, right? So you can do it on your own. I'm just here to tell you that these function exists. So if
Yeah.
there is a chance that what I want, okay, I want to find out public user from public user's email ID. If I want to take out this thing and I just want to take the name, get the name or the previous part of the email. So what
Oh.
can I do? I can take a substring, right? I can take the substring
Yes.
from the email and will give the initial value 1, and what would the last index? Last index would be the index of the at the rate minus 1, right? Then it will be the index of
Yes.
this. So that's how I will get
Yes.
all the names. right? And I will remove this thing. So I will get the name substring with the name of the users only. I mean that I mean in our case it's the name of the users, and in real life that this could be something else, but we can trim the data using these two functions, and that is built internally only. All right, so
Okay.
that was the string operations, right? There are a lot more operations there, but this is enough. I mean, this class is just to make you aware of these functions that exist in the database and where we can use it, right? Now in the future you can just go and Google those things and you will be able to handle it on your own. Cool. So now
Okay.
the thing is, we have seen till now we have seen the string operations, right?
Yeah.
That the string functions that the Postgres is giving us, or the SQL is giving us, MySQL giving us. And now we will see the Postgres operations on numbers, numeric functions that we can use, right? So in
Yes.
strings, what happen if I try to divide 10 divided by 5, right? So
Yes.
I get the total 2, right? So my
Yeah.
database is able to do the calculation. So if I want to do some calculation, it's better for me. I mean, it would be easy for the database to compute if whether I'll go to the Google and then do the Google search. My database will be faster, right? So this is the basic operation. So let's see what else it can do. So if I'll do 10 divided by 5, so it will be 2, right? And then minus
Yes.
5. So the total would be minus 3, right? 2
Yes.
minus
Yes.
5 minus 3. So this is again not too much complex solutions. And now let's say that sum. So sum is minus 3. Cool. So this is the basic operation that database can handle. And what if in Java, you must be aware, if I'll try to divide anything with 0, then what will happen? If I'll divide 10 by 2, then it's cool, 5. But if I try to divide this in Java, it will be arithmetic exception, right?
Yeah.
But what if in Java also error, right? Division by 0,
Yeah.
because anything divided by 0 becomes infinity, right? So if you try
Yes.
to operate something, if you have two tables in your database, one is the selling price and one is the cost price. So cost price,
Yeah.
and what will be your profit? Your profit will be selling price minus cost price, right?
Of course. Yes.
So but this is not the division operation, right? So let's suppose you need to find out the percentage now. So how will you get the percentage of your profit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
We need to.
let's go and see some basic maths again. So if you have
Yeah. Yeah.
something of 100 rupees, so this is your cost price, right? And if you selling price is
100.
120, so how
20.
much your profit is 20, right?
Yes.
Profit is 20, and what will be the profit percentage?
20 into the
100.
amount of
If it's we are
100
talking about percentage, then it would be,
divided by 100.
yes. So what's the it's the
20%
profit divided by
is.
cost price into 100, right? Right.
Yes.
But let's say, for example, we have some issue in our database, and due to some issue our cost price becomes 0. Then what will happen? Cost price 0, selling price 120. That what will happen? The profit will become 120, right? And then
Yes.
120 divided by 100 and then into 100, right? This is how we do it, right? So 120
Yes.
divided by 0, what will happen? It will provide this error, right, in the
Yeah. Yeah.
database. So database can do the arithmetic operation, but then again it will provide the error in the database only, right? In the database error you will find the data. That means your query will give some exception. Cool.
Yeah.
It's not like in your Java you can do the try and catch, right? So there is no alternative in the database. So the thing is, database is able to handle a lot of computation and calculation, especially arithmetic. But if you do, then and some exception arises, then the thing is you won't be able to handle it, right? Because your language is Java, your server is working on Java. You can tell your server to do anything, but your database will just try to give you the answer of your query. So, and your entire query will fail if you have asked for 300 users profit, right? That the order where order profit percentage of 300 orders. So if a
Yes.
single order is having 0 in its cost price, then you will not get any data, right? You will get the
Yeah.
error from the query. So this thing we need
Yes.
to take care. I mean, we should know in our mind that okay, this thing will happen, right? Other thing
Yeah.
is very basics. So it can do I mean, if I want to do this 10, okay, 10 modulus in 5,
Yeah.
so it is 0. Why? Because modulus, okay, so let me give you another thing. 3, I think you don't do coding.
1. Yeah.
Okay, so modulus is very important thing. I mean, modulus is the remainder, right? If I divide 10 by 3, what will be the remainder? 1 will be the remainder, right? Because 3 into 3 9, 10 minus 9, remainder will be 1, right? So why it's 0 in this case? Because if I try to divide 10 by 5, then 5 into 2 will be the 10, there will be no remainder, right? So 0. So the modulus is for remainders. It is very
Yes.
important for the uh, coding questions. So okay, so it can handle modulus. It can perform any operation: subtraction, minus 100, minus 20, cool, 80. So this is the basic thing that it can do. But instead of this also, it can do one more thing. That if I have 100 rupees, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I have 90 rupees, right?
Yeah.
It is 90, right? It's still 90. But if I have 90.90, now it's 99. It's not 90.90, it's 91, right? So
Yeah.
ceiling function is, it's like match.ceil, right? Match.floor. We have match.floor, right, in Java.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have not used it, then there is no issue. So the thing is, when you have ceil, and the another thing, you can also have ceiling, right? Both are same, whether you use ceil or you use ceiling. So, and in maths usually there is floor instead of okay. So floor will be the lower end, right? 90.90 becomes 19 floor. In ceiling it becomes 91, right?
Yeah.
You know the difference. Floor means the lower part, rounded off to the lower part, so it will be 90. And then over here, rounded off to the higher part, it will be 91, right? So if I'll say the ceiling to 90.10 also, then again it will be 91, right? It
Yeah.
won't be rounding up, right? When what we have learned in our classes is rounding, that if the value is 9.5, then make it 8, no, sorry, 10. But if the
Yeah.
value is 9.4, make it 9, right? But it's
Yeah.
rounding, right, in normal what we have learned. But if we saying the ceiling, then it's like go to the top value of that area, like the ceiling of our room. Go to the ceiling. What will be the ceiling of 9.110? 91, right? And what will be
Yeah.
the floor? Floor will be the lowest value. If we round up and go to the lowest part of the rounding value, then 90.90 will become the 90, right? So ceiling, floor, these are the same thing that we have in every language, right? So database can also is able to handle it, and
Yeah.
it can do a lot of more item as well. So that, like we have done this thing, right? Select, if I try to divide 10 by 5, so it's 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, if I write div, okay, cool, again. So div we will be having in MySQL, right? So we can directly do in our Postgres, but if you want to do it in MySQL, you can use the div, right? There might be
Yes.
chance in the higher versions of MySQL, they have allowed direct computation like the Postgres allows us to do. Cool.
Yeah.
So there is now again a lot of different things that you can do. I don't think where the greatest is also there or not in this. 1 2 3 4 5, and select near or at L, greatest. Okay, so I don't think greatest is a function in this, but the greatest is a function. You will find it then in MySQL. Cool. So what it will do, it will just find the greatest value that is present in this array that I have written over here, right? But why?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Wait. There might be chances because it is saying that L is the issue. Cool. Okay, so greatest is a part of Postgres also, right? So
Postgres also, yes.
okay, so this is the greatest. So the L was here, right? So this was giving that there is an error near L. So there is no L in here. So this was the problem source of the error. Cool. So the
Yeah.
greatest is a part of Postgres also. Cool. So these things,
Yes.
I mean, you can do. There are a lot of more things that the Postgres can do, and
Yeah.
like it's the greatest we have seen, right? So
Yeah.
if we have select least, right? Least
Yeah.
of 1 2 3 4 and 5, so we get one, right? And there are a lot of things that it can do, but I haven't used it. If I try to get pi, okay, get pi, cool. So this is the value of pi that I can get, right? So I don't
Yes.
need to write pi again and again. So
Yeah.
if I want to do select power, cool, 2 to the power 3 8, cool. So and there is a lot of more items as well, like select log 2, okay, and when I take log 2, I'll say make it 8. So
Yeah.
what will be the output? It should be, okay, log 2 don't work. Select log 2, okay, so log 2 should be working in, the output should be what we were expecting is 3, because when we
Yeah.
do, okay, let's check the, okay, no function matches, cool. So
Yeah.
what it will do, it will just make the log base of, get the value of log base 2 of 8, that the answer would be 3, because if you
Yeah.
make 2 into 2 into 2 3 times, then it will may take, right? So it will just
Yeah.
go in the reverse side. Cool. So this my function is not in our Hibernate, sorry, in our Postgres, but you will find
Postgres.
it in our MySQL. Cool. So there is more thing as well. If you can do the cos cos 90, right? Tan 90, cos 0.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is there, but it is, I mean, it is there in every database, right? This is the common item that is available in every database. So these are the mathematical operation that we have seen, that it can find, it can do the basic operation, mathematical operation it can do, right? We have seen that.
Yeah.
So cos, cosine, and the cosec, every mathematical, this trigonometrical function it can process also, right? So the
Yes.
greatest, the least, and then the finding out the mod, pi, power, then the random numbers. So if I don't know whether again select rand, no, select random, yes, cool.
Yeah.
So select rand will be on the MySQL. So the random number,
Yeah.
we get some random number, right? So if you want to do some
Yes.
random number, you will get, and we have seen the ceiling and floor, right? So
Yeah.
select round, right? 9.1 if I'll do, then what will happen? It will make it 9, right? But if I'll do the 9.5, it will make it 10. 9.4, it will again make it 9, right? So if we want to make it round, then we use round. If we want to make it the lowest possible value, then it will be the floor, and highest possible value, then it will be ceiling, right? In
Yeah.
that particular constraint.
Yes.
So these are the things that it can do. It can do the square root, and those things it can do manually. So if something happens where you need to process the, do the basic, needs to do the basic operation, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like you need to do it on your own. What will be the square root of 36? 6, right?
Yeah.
So those things the database is able to handle on its own. So it's not like you
Yeah.
need to, and even the binary operations, we are not going to see the binary operation of those things, but it can do it on in its own. No need to
Yeah.
do it again and again. Cool. So we will wrap our
Yeah.
numerical functions also over here. Now we
Yeah.
will see one more. There is one more important thing that we need to know. It's about the date, right?
Yeah.
So you must have seen why we have covered those things, because we have numbers somewhere, right? This
Yeah.
date and those things, and the price will be there, selling price, cost price, those things will be there. Strings will be there. I mean, you cannot do anything, right? The name, email, first name, last name, product name, description of product, everything will be on the
Yeah.
string. So we need to know how can we operate on the strings. We haven't
Yeah.
dived deep into that, right? We can do a lot of stuff. So you can just go through inside this and just change the Gmail to something else. A lot of things can happen. Today's the uh, In the today's class, we just need to make sure that our minds are broadened enough to make sure that the some part of the code can be done directly using the database also, right? It's not like
Yeah.
for everything we need to create a uh,
Yeah.
Okay, wait. There is one way. A script. We need to create a script for every task that we have for the database, right?
Yeah.
Because usually what happens if, for example, if there is only a single image for a product, if you want to update with the more images, people will write a script for that, right?
Yeah.
But that thing is making sense because there is no way for us to get the data of other images directly from the database. We need to insert it, right? We don't need to operate on some data. But
Yes.
if there is a case that okay, we have done something wrong, so what we have done is we have converted every Gmail to every some other mail, right? So
Yes.
we can just go find the index of this at the rate, and then the rest, if it matches with the Gmail, we can just remove it. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I think one more thing that we should know, it's a part of select query. We will come back to the date part. So I want to get the users, right? So
Yeah.
I will get the every user, right? So
Yes.
now I want only those user who have, okay, 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 who have I and then at the rate in its name, right? So how can I do that? Give me every users, every row, every column from users where, right? Email.
Email
Oh my
contains
bad. Okay, select start from public users where
email
email, yes, then
contains
no, like,
like yeah.
and then with like we do this, right? If I want names which start with S, right? So what
Yeah.
I can say that okay, I will write S. Cool. And then modulus.
Modulus.
Then
Yes.
it will give every name that will start with S, right? So
Yes.
this means that it should start with S, then rest I don't care, right? Now
Yeah.
what I can do, I can say that it should have S anywhere, right? I can make
Yeah.
modulus S and then modulus. So
Yeah.
now this is S in Ramesh and this S, both were the first character of S. Cool. So if I say that I want name where I at the rate Gmail is written, then these
Yeah.
are the two answers. Cool. So this I like is very important. Cool. And the one thing, what's the difference between like and I like? I like becomes case insensitive. Cool. Like is case
Yeah.
sensitive. I like is case insensitive. Cool. So let's again go to our users, our this date functions. And why we are saying date? Because date is everywhere, right? In every column and every row, sorry, in every table
Yeah.
you will find created and modified date. These two columns will be there in every product, every table. See, so one thing we have already seen, right? Now we have already seen, right? Because while creating the data we have seen use now a lot, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, if I want that data from public users, right, where created date should be lesser than now.
Yeah.
Yes, every data should be less than now, right? So we get every data, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the one thing, but the thing is I can do one more thing, that current underscore time. Now see, and see what the difference between now and current time. See,
Yeah.
when I do now, then I get the date as well, right?
Data as well as
But when I do the current time, I'll just only get the time, right?
time.
And this is the plus 5:30. This is the time zone, right? And
Yeah. Times.
before this is the time. Cool. So now the question arises, if we have current time, okay, so current time
Yeah.
is for select current time is for time, right? Time.
Yeah.
So there should be something like current date as well, right?
Yes.
Because if I'll do select now, what will happen, I'll get date plus time, current date plus time. So
Okay.
it should be segregation, right? If I do the current date, then I will get the just date, right? Date.
Yeah.
If I'll do the time, then I will get the current time. So now what we were doing earlier, now it is a combination of current date and current time, right?
Yeah.
You can see it over here. Cool. So
Yes.
you are using the now, but we should know that what is it exactly. Cool. Now
Yeah.
let's move forward. And now there is one more thing this, I mean, one thing that one should know is that this current time is a variable, right? It's not a function.
Yeah.
It's a variable.
Yeah.
It's a variable. Now is a function. Cool. So this should be
Yeah.
the difference. We should know the difference between and we have done it already in one language. We have already done. So we should know the difference between variable and this thing. So this now
Yeah.
what it's doing? It's taking these two variables and concatenating it only, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move forward then. Then one thing we have seen a lot of timestamp, right? So now if you will try to check the difference between now has a date, and then now has the time, and now has the time zone, right? So
Yeah.
now and current timestamp so are exactly same, right?
Yeah.
Now and timestamp, what they are the combination of current time and current date. Cool.
Yeah.
So you can use now or you can use current timestamp, both will be same, no
Okay.
difference. Okay, all right. So now the different thing is, now it can happen local time. I don't know whether it is okay. Cool. So if I'll do now instantly, okay, my bad, select now. So see, the difference is 22, 56, 58, right?
Yeah.
And 22, 57, 57, right? So only
Yeah.
few second difference are there, right? There might be a
Yeah.
chance that the database is having a time of different area, right? But
Yeah.
different time zone. There might be a chance that my server is in UK and we are inserting data in the UK time zone, right? So
Yeah.
how can I get my current time zone right now? So I can just check the local time zone. So my current time zone, where the system, this server is deployed, it will try
Yeah.
to give you the time zone of the current server deployment area, right? It will not show from where I'm using it. If my database is in the server of UK, then it will be going
Yeah.
to give me the time of UK, right? So this is just
Yeah.
use local time is just used to get the time of the server, right? So we can get okay. But if you have some doubt, if someone will says
Yeah.
okay, can you please confirm that the time we are saving in the database is UK's time, so you can just
Yeah.
go and do the local time in your database and check the time of the UK. If they are matching, then yes, you can perfectly say okay, the time in the database is of UK. You don't need to check the code, don't need to dive deep into the code and check in which case we are sending which time zone, right? Because it will take a lot of data if you don't know the flow of the code base already. So this is the easy
Yeah.
hack to find that out, right? All right. So let's move forward. So we have seen the timestamp and this thing, and then now we have seen. So this is the only thing that we should see. One thing that we can do, and which is very much helpful as well, is when we can update the date, right?
Yeah.
And what do I mean by updating the date? When I say update the date, for example, when I have done public and users, this is the data, right? And when I
Yeah.
say that okay, please provide me data, okay, public users where created date is less than, and now where now is greater, right? So the every row I'm getting,
Yeah.
right? So but the thing is, it's not like I require this date every time, right?
Yes.
So there might be a chance that I want some date which are older, right? So let's
Yeah.
say instead of now, if I have a date which will come from here only, right?
Yeah.
Like 2010. If I'll try to hit, and if I'll make then this should be greater. Okay, so I'll make it 11. Right now everything is there, and now just let me reverse the code, and now there will be no data, right? So what I'll do, I'll change the date, this as well, 9, right? Cool. Now the thing is created date, where the created date is greater than the 9th of August. Cool. So we are
Yeah.
getting every data, right?
Yeah.
But what if I want to get the date? Okay. Wait. Before doing that, let's see some other part that we should know, and it is related to extract. Now I don't know whether extract is a keyword here as well. So let me copy this. Okay, my bad. Okay, so I'll run this. Okay, and even instead of this, let's try to extract directly. Extract. Now I want to extract year from created date. Cool. Then from users. Cool. So what I have done,
Year is
I have the
extracted.
created date, I have extracted the year only, right, from this.
Yeah.
So when I have done, and then let's say that this is the from the created date, from the date, it would be better if I can write this query, right? And then instead of doing that, how many users are coming, I mean, I want to know that how many people are having their birthdays on August. Cool. So what I can do, instead of year, I can do month, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then my data will be this, right?
Yeah.
So now, okay, so how it is very useful, let me show you. Select, then id, first name, and email id. Cool. Email. So now what's happening, I mean, we will see it later on,
Okay.
where, okay, see, we get every user who is having right now, the credit date is 8 only, right? Let's
Yeah.
suppose
Yeah.
on today's date, on today's month, right? You are from Swiggy, and you want to send some coupons to the users who are having their birthdays on August. Cool.
Yeah.
So on 1st of August, you need to roll out some coupons, and then they will get the notification, okay, it's your birthday week, so we have one coupon for you. You can buy food of 500 rupees and you will get a discount of 200. Cool. So instead of going through this and then try to map it equally, right, we can
Yeah.
directly go and just check the month, right? And instead of the year, in year also we can do this, right? In year we can make it, okay, so in 2000 x year and y date you are born, then we can do this, right? But the thing
Yeah.
is, if we have the date of birth of a user, then the thing is, we need to, the year can be different, right? We cannot make the equals match, right? 2024 and 08 we cannot do with the I, like, because if we try to do it, then what will happen, only people who are born in 2024 August, they will get the notification, right? But we want
Yeah.
everyone who are born in 1985, 4, 3, 2, 1, we don't care. We just need to make sure that the person is more than 18 years of age, and so that he has money and can order. So then we can just send a notification to them. Cool. So whoever before 2015, sorry, 206, before 206, if someone is born and he is born in August, then we need to send a notification, right? So right now
Yes.
what happened is, we get this data, right, date part
Yeah.
over here. So what I can do, I can use this over here. We have used, okay, let's first update, okay, let's not update, we'll see it later on. So what we can do, this thing that we have done over here, right, extract, what we can do, instead
Yes.
of going over there, we can say that where, then I can use extract. Cool. And what we need to do, we need to extract what, extract month, right? We need to extract month from created date,
Okay.
right? And when now what will happen, it will go and get these data from the database. But when it will going to get these data, when the selected where query is matched, right? And in where query I have this data right now. Cool. So it will get the, okay, it will get this date and get out 8 over
Yeah.
here, right? And where
Yes.
extract this month is equals to 8. Cool. If I try to run it, okay, it it should come as a string, it should not come as string. Created date, okay, spelling is wrong. Cool. So created dot, okay, cool, right now we get it, right? So we are getting
Yes.
right now the 3 data, right, over here. So
Yeah.
every data 6 data, right? So we can try to update the row, update, and update public users and then set set created date equals to, okay, let's try to get this where id equals to 5. So instead of 8, let's make it 7, where id equals to 5. Okay, updated. Let's check the data again. Okay, my bad. Okay, see, if when I run the query again, how many rows I get now? 5, right?
Yeah.
Because now the user of 7th, this user 7, which were Nikhila earlier, Nikhila is not here right now anymore, right? The reason is Nikhila is not born in August now. Cool. Is it visible?
Yes.
Let me show you. Nikhila is there in the database. I haven't deleted it. It's just we updated the row, right? Nikhila is there. Nikhila is there, right? It's just now
Yes.
she's born in July instead of August. So this is how we can get the data, right? And it is the easier way. I mean, it's not like we should go and get our server. We should get all the users and then try to get try to extract the date and then find which user is greater than, then try to find out their id and then try to hit the database again and then send the emails, right? The database can do these things on its own, but the only thing you should know that if your server gets a lot of query, right, if your server is used to get a lot of query, then there will be a drawback with this thing, because the
Okay.
reason is these queries will take more time, right?
Yeah.
Because we have already seen we can do this in explain analyze, right?
Explain,
And
analyze.
then we can do this simple, my bad, sorry, we can just do this simple thing and then this, right? So you can see that how much time it's taking when I use this create and all, and how much time it will take if I don't this. The thing right now is that we are using a lot, we are working with a lot less data, right? Postgres is not
Yeah. Yeah.
created to work with this much less data, right? You should add at least a million
Yeah. Yeah.
records, then it will work. See over here what's happening when I have using some more queries and some more search results, right? Then it's taking less time. Is visible? It's taking 114 milliseconds, right? And over here it's
Yeah.
taking 607. And
Yeah.
over here you will see this is the basic query, right? Select id, select from users only. And over here is the complex query, where we are
Yeah.
extracting from date, month from date, and then comparing it and then giving out the results. So this Postgres is not created to work with the lower end data. So there might be a chance when you try to work with it, you will find it this thing. When you work with the less data, this thing won't make sense to you, right? So you should have a million records and then you can do this. But if you have a million records or that much size of data that you will have in your production environment, then you can check these things, right? Because this will take some extra time. So that's why all the companies have some basic timelines that we will take only 30 milliseconds. We will work with the query that will take maximum of 30 milliseconds, right? No more than 30 milliseconds. So that's how the
Okay.
company will is usually works. So your manager or your tech lead will usually say, okay, just show me how much time it's taking, or they will simply ask. So you should do this thing and then you will get the data. Okay, then they will ask you, okay, how many in how much data set you have used this query. When you say, okay, my query is taking 27 milliseconds, then he will ask you, okay, but in how much data set? Then you will say, okay, I had 10 million rows in my database. Or it will say, okay, no, we already have 550 million rows, so we need to make sure that this microservice will still work with the load of 20, not load, with the data set of 200 million, that you need to create first 200 million records in your local system and then try to run it, right? Because the thing is, your local system will have the server less powerful than the server that they are using in their
Production.
production, right? And also
Yeah.
there is chances that we can horizontally, sorry, vertically scale that particular machine, right?
Yeah.
Vertical scale means that right now you have a system server of 4 GB RAM and some processor i5 processor which have some less gigahertz power. Then you just move
Yeah.
it to the better version, like 1 TB SSD along with 32 GB RAM. This is called vertical scaling, where you are increasing the power of your server Horizontal scaling is that the power of server is equivalent, but you have many servers. Cool. So when we are running this in our local system and we provide some values, then our tech lead or our manager, they are sure that okay, eventually we can do the, even if it is working fine, 30 milliseconds is great timing for 200 million records. So and right now we are at the only 500 million records, and we are aggregating 10% of those records. I mean 5 million records we are getting in each and every year, so there is no issue with that, right? If we grow at faster pace also, then also we will get the time frame of 5 to 6 years until we reach to a certain point where we will be having 200 million records in our database, right? So that's how people think. And why they think it like this, because in 5 to 6 years there might be a chance that the manager will leave the firm, right? Or the tech lead will leave the firm. So everyone is basically working to the particular extent where they might not face challenges. Cool, let's move forward then. This was the date part, right? Why we can, how, why this extract is important, right? You get the point? Because there is a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
things that we don't need to do. It makes our life very I mean, it can make, it can help us with our queries, daily life queries, right? Now
Yes.
another thing, another thing is also important, and that thing is uh, we have seen that we can extract the date and time, right? But
Yeah.
now there might be a chance that we need to add add time to our date, right? Let's suppose
Yeah.
this is the data that we are getting, right? So
Yeah.
we are getting select and select id, first name, and created date from public users. Let me clear the screen first. Okay, cool. This is the data that we are getting, right? But let's suppose
Yeah.
I need to add, I need to add some data to this particular data that we have seen right now, right? So what I can do in our query, I can make, I can add the date, right?
Yeah.
So created date we already have, right? It would be a function, right? We are talking about the function, right? So it would be inside this curly braces, and then I need to work on the created date, right? And now I need to make sure that how much date I need to add. Interval I will add, let's say 1 year. Cool.
Mm.
Okay. So syntax error. Okay, so created date is cool. Why one? Okay, so at least it's not saying that it is not recognizing this command. Okay, but why one is not allowed? Interval space and then interval. Okay, cool. Okay, the query is good. It should have, it should have provided the, okay, cool, let's leave this. I mean, I think it's not, I mean, it's showing one as an error, but I think it's more of a that this date add is not working on Postgres. Cool. So instead of this, let's go to different item. Let's see, let we have seen that one thing we have seen, or I mean, we know that there are two columns that will be in every database table, right? One is modified date and one
Yeah.
is created date, right?
Created date.
So if we know, if we need to know, I mean, and there might be a chance, like suppose there is a product, right? And you are updating the product details, the product price
Yeah.
will be updated, right? In every few months you will update the price. Today the lighter is of 100 rupees, there might be a chance next year it will be of 120, right? But the product will be the same. So the in Amazon, the customer will come, the seller will come and update the price from 100 to 120, right? But the thing
Uh,
is, there might be a chance that the product which are selling for 200 for last 2 years with the same price, right? There might be a chance that we
yeah.
need to send them notifications to update the price, right? We can say that okay, hey, hi, we have seen that you have 10 products in your 100 products in your inventory. Out of 100 there are 10 products which are selling for the same price for last 2 years. There might be a chance due to inflation and all, you might need to update the price, so we are just letting you know, right? And why would Amazon do that? Because sending an email and sending the notification also costs some of the price, right? It requires developers their time, it requires server, right? So the thing is, if
Okay.
the price gets increased, then Amazon works on a percentage basis, right? If someone will sell something of
Oh.
1,000 rupees, then Amazon will take 100 rupees out of them, then that will be the 10%. So if someone will start some item from start selling from an item of 1,000 rupees and update its price to 1,200, then it will be beneficial for that particular customer also and for Amazon also, right? And because they are
Yeah.
getting more money, and but not just this, but Amazon will make sure that okay, they are taking care of their customers. Because if other people, other platforms like Flipkart and other platforms are not providing these facilities, then they will say okay, Amazon is better because they provide these XYZ details to us, right? So
Yeah.
this is why they don't leave the platform. And this thing also comes into the part of marketing. I mean, it's a part of product management, but usually it's a major concept of marketing as well, because this thing what will it will make sure that Amazon is working for the seller's benefit, right?
Yeah.
And same goes with the customer also, that if something has gone to the below, if you have some product in your cart, like for example a mobile phone, and its price is now at the time lowest for the last 1 year, right? Like the phone
Yeah.
used to sell at the rate of 80,000, and last year it got launched, and after 9 months you have after 10 months you have placed it in your bucket, and now it the price has came down from 80,000 to 60,000, and it used to float between 70 to 80,000. So if you send some notification to the user, hey, we have seen that this particular mobile device in your cart is present for the last 1 month, but right now it's trading of almost the lowest in the last 1 year. It's trading at 60,000. So the thing is,
Yeah.
because it's already in the cart, so the Amazon knows that okay, the customer needs it, right? Or he likes the price product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the price is the lowest for the last 1 year, it will help increase the sale, right? So these
Yeah. Yeah.
things we need to find. So okay, so cool. These are the insights why we require
Yeah.
those things. But the thing is, there is something. Created date. Created date is a column. Okay. Public users. Public users. Okay, we don't need this. Cool. Now the thing is, diff, right? Date diff. So select
Yeah.
asterisk from. Okay, okay, no, no. So I will use only date diff, but let me check whether it works in this or not. Date diff. Okay, so I want the difference in date of month. Cool. In months I need difference, right? Because if I
Yeah.
want difference between two dates, it can be month and dates and time, right? So
Yeah.
one I can take created date, right? And one I can take now. Cool. Month does not exist. Okay, okay, but it's not saying that date diff does not exist. It's again great, but the thing is, okay, dated diff. It's date. Okay, now it's date diff. Okay, so year month exist here. No, year does not exist. Over here one does not exist. Okay, cool, but we have used interval 1 year. Year we have used, right? Okay, extract month, we have used month over here. Why it's saying it does not know month? Okay, okay, wait. Select date def month now and created date from public users, and it's saying month does not exist. Okay, cool. I mean, it's not date def is not used in then, because month exists in our Postgres, right? We have used in month in extract month, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So date diff is then the date diff will be in can be used in MySQL, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is date diff, when I'll try to get this data from here, then what will happen that it's going to provide the difference in months in the created date and
Okay.
the current date, right?
No. Current date.
Okay, cool. So the thing is it's a part of uh, it's a part of this. Okay, cool. We now what we can do is that instead of like we wanted to know the difference in the months, right? In the month.
Yeah.
So what we can do, we can use date, extract and date part that we have seen already, right? We have seen how
Yeah.
we can extract the month from this and this, right? So what I can do, I can make this thing on my own. If they're not providing me this thing, then I can make select, and then what I will do is I will extract, and what I will extract month. ठीक है, month from कहाँ से? I will extract month from created date, right?
We tried it. Yes.
Okay, and it will be from table.
Users.
Okay, cool. So what I will do, I will take month from created date, and it will be from public users, right?
Yes.
So this is the value that we are getting. Now what I will do, I have the month right now, right?
Yeah.
And now what I will do, I will do extract again month, cool, from now instead of created date, now, cool. So what I have done, I'm saying that okay, extract date from this month from created date, then please extract date from this now, right? These two things is for now, is for one basis for month now and one for month, right?
Yeah.
So I get the data, right? So it becomes minus
Yeah.
1 because 7 is less than, right? Currently we are at 8
Yeah.
and 7 is there, right? So we can directly
Yeah.
do this thing because date diff is not present, right? Date diff is
Yeah.
provided in SQL, MySQL, not in the Postgres, but because we know that okay, there is something like extract, right? So we have written this on our own, cool. So that's the difference. I mean,
Yes.
we could have googled, okay, how can we do this and all that, those things, what's the equivalent of this and that, but if you know that, we can directly do this thing as well, right? So
Yes.
when you are with your teammates, and then you cannot go and again google those things, so it is the thing that we can use, and there might be a chance that there can be some different function available in the Postgres, but this is how also that we can do, right? Just reverse this thing because extract now is the thing, so copy and just remove, okay, my bad. Instead of this created date here, I can make it now, and then it will be, now the difference will be normal now here, and created date here.
Create.
Now the thing is in positive, right? No difference in months and one difference in month, right? Again, if I make this year and this year, then again the difference would be in year and it would be 0, cool. So okay, so this was the date, and
Yeah.
let's wrap our today's session. So
Yeah.
the thing is, in today we just have seen